Before Nicodemus arrives at Jesus' door in the middle of the night, the Gospel of John has set the stage of Jesus' ministry beginning at a wedding party. Important because John returns to this image many times as the Gospel is told. The wedding celebration, the party, is the fullness of God's kingdom, the wholeness of the earth and its creatures. Jesus is at a party. The disciples are there, so is his mother. There's conversation, celebration, feasting, dancing, and lots of drinking. Remember, Jesus, although it was not a work day, was asked to turn water into wine because they had run out. Jesus obliges. Before continuing with Jesus at the party, consider for a moment what kind of a party goer are you? Do you like formal parties, wedding dues where you get all dressed up? Do you lavishly partake in the food and the drinks, dancing to your heart's content, enjoying meeting and chatting with the other guests? Do you revel in staying out late? Do you go to parties reluctantly, not planning to participate outside of being polite and prepared only to make an appearance and get away as quickly at the earliest opportunity? Or are you somewhere in between those? Beginning chapter 2 of the Gospel of John, Jesus is at a party, and what follows in the chapter are incidents happening in God's continuing wedding feast. First, there is an illicit poker game going on in the corner of the tent. The high rollers are fleecing the casual players. This is the story of Jesus driving the money changers out of the temple. And then there is a group of intellectual sorts, not so interested in dancing. They are outside in the cool air, gathered around a fire, philosophizing on religion. Jesus joins them for a little while in a back and forth repartee. Jesus says, "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up." The intellectuals reply, "The temple? The temple has been under construction for 46 years, and you will raise it up on the 3rd day?" And now, this morning, we read chapter 3, where Nicodemus arrives at Jesus' door in the middle of the night. I am the sort of partygoer who can relate to Nicodemus. I do love getting dressed up to go to a party. I do like to dance, eat, and make merry. I participate, but I do not indulge fully. I hold back. I am reserved, watching what I say and what I do. At some point, usually sooner than later, you will find me in the group around the fire, philosophizing, until the people that I came to the party with are ready to leave. Leaving a party, I am tired, but generally feel better than when I arrived. It is later, when the party has been played over in my mind, probably more than once, that I have questions or pieces of information that I need to ask about. Conversations that started and didn't end or conclude. Unlike Nicodemus, I don't arrive at Jesus' door in the middle of the night. I arrive in people's emails or by phone in the following days. Before talking about Nicodemus' participation in God's wedding feast, let us explore the host and the invitation. God is the host. God hosts a party. The very invitation came in the beginning when breath was breathed into humankind. The Gospel of John reminds us this in the 1st chapter. In the beginning was the Word was with God, the Word was God. All things came into being through him. What has come into being was life, and the life was the light of the world. God hosts a party, a celebration of life. All is whole and there is lavish abundance. It is a celebration of kingdom, God's vision. God is a good host, sending out the invitation, reminding people of the invitation, inviting hearts and minds to open and participate in the party that is already at hand and that was underway from the day of creation when God rested. God is a good host in that God doesn't require or force attendance. God doesn't force participation or enjoyment. People have the choice to participate and celebrate life, to participate in the party, to welcome and share abundance. People have the choice to sit in the corner, playing illicit games, cheating others. They have a choice to sit by a fire and do a whole lot of talking and not so much living. People can choose to not show up and find excuses for themselves to leave quickly. The party, the kingdom, is already here. God already sent out the invitations many times over. We spend time waiting for the kingdom or working for the kingdom. But what is needed is a huge transformation to take place to change our minds, to perceive and know that the party is underway. It's happening. This is what Nicodemus is figuring out. He's witnessed the signs, the miracles, and is beginning to wake up and think that God's kingdom, God's party, is happening. And he, along with his religious colleagues, are missing it. So he goes to find out for sure. Nicodemus arrives at Jesus' door with questions. He only gets to utter a statement. We know that you are a teacher who has come from God. For no one can do these signs apart from the presence of God. When Jesus interrupts him with a reflection on being born again from above. Nicodemus, put on your party hat. Being born again from above is a God's eye view. The view from the host of the party, the host of the celebration of life. Nicodemus is once again being invited to participate in the wedding celebration. Nicodemus is at a turning point in his life. And although we are not told, I am guessing he's in the second half of his life. I read somewhere that there are 40 days of Lent, 40 days or years repeated again and again in the biblical story because of what happens to human beings after their 40th birthday. Any time in the decades following 40, people change. This change has been articulated in a variety of ways. Knowing oneself, being comfortable in one's own skin, a midlife crisis, reinventing oneself, finding a greater purpose, leaving a legacy, enjoying retirement. Somewhere after 40, there's a transition from achieving, consuming, getting settled, to more focused living, reflecting, evaluating, where relationships become more important, as is purpose, commonwealth, and celebrating the time that one has left. Brains and hearts in the latter part of life have a greater capacity to finally compute that humans do things backwards. Christians for millennia have been waiting and working for a party, for God's kingdom that is never coming. Because it's been going on since God breathed life. Humans have forgotten the garden, been busy and occupied over centuries, manipulating their own lives and the lives of others, and thus within a sinful fog, so to speak, have failed to embrace, see, hear, taste, and participate in God's kingdom, the wedding feast. Jesus is at a party. Nicodemus is redirected to the ongoing celebration of life, to be born again, to participate in the party. Jesus hands to Nicodemus, to us, the party favors. Speak of what you know. Testify to what you have seen. Receive the testimony of others. Eat, drink, be merry. God, the host, is in the midst of us, in the midst of throwing a lavish party with welcome and love poured out for all. Be born again. See God's vision. Come, revel in God's kingdom. Amen.